What's up everyone, it's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and I enjoy the Nintendo Switch. I enjoy my Nintendo Switch whenever I have a chance to play it, or whenever I have a reason to play it. But because I'm a pretty logical person, of course I'm going to be critical of the Nintendo Switch, because we all know there are many complaints about the Nintendo Switch, including many, even at this point, design choices and feature exclusions by Nintendo. So I'm free to call them out whenever something like this is highlighted or something like that is really brought to the forefront. And the latest version is illustrated extremely well by Hori. Now, Hori are a very high quality peripheral manufacturer for all the different platforms. They make things for PlayStation, they make things for Xbox, they make things for Nintendo. Hell, one of my favorite game pads that I actually use on my GameCube is a Hori pad. Anyway, that's beside the point. A couple of months ago, when the Nintendo Switch was detailed with the whole online voice chat and the fact that it will be handled through an app, a separate smartphone app, and not actually built into the console in any way, shape, or form, it raised a lot of red flags for many people, myself included. Now, you can argue it's like, oh, I don't use voice chat, or I don't want voice chat, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, it's just going to be a bunch of 12-year-olds cursing at each other. That may be true to some point, but the fact is, it's a necessary feature. And it's such a basic feature that has been included in console games since roughly about 2004. I'm looking at Halo 2 as one of the shining examples. And the fact that it's omitted from the Switch and only enabled in a really weird roundabout fashion, which personally, if you ask me, is unacceptable to require a several €100 separate device just to do this. But again, it's Nintendo's modus operandi by the Switch by the look of it. But anyway, back to the point that Hori's new headset, actually designed for Nintendo Switch, it's a Splatoon-themed, officially licensed Nintendo headset from Hori. And they've actually put out some images and some promotional images and how to use it, how it's going to connect up and all. And it really highlights the backwardness and the absolute out of touch and archaic design that Nintendo are using to some of their features and products. Now, of course, the Switch is great in some aspects. It's almost ahead of its time in some ways, but also it's somewhat behind the times in some ways too. So let's look at this image here real quick. So this image shows how to connect your Nintendo Switch with your new Hori headset to get the best possible setup from it. Now, what they illustrate here is that you have your Nintendo Switch, you have a 3.5mm audio jack coming out of your Switch into this splitter. You have, assuming you don't have an iPhone 7 at least anyway, you have a headphone jack coming out of your mobile phone into the splitter. Obviously, your mobile phone will be running the app and it will have the voice settings and all set up properly for it. And then you will have one cable going from the splitter to your headset. Now, there is one thing that I will say about this. This all works on the assumption that you want your in-game sound and your your voice chat coming in through the same headset, because obviously they both go in and then come out to the headset. So that all is on the crux of that. We all know that not everyone prefers that. I know, for example, when I'm playing games, if I'm playing them on PC, I prefer to have my actual game sounds coming out through my quality speaker system, and my actual voice chat and my voice communications coming out through a small basic headset that I use for that purpose exclusively. When I'm playing on my PlayStation 4, I prefer to use my surround sound for the game sounds and a small mono earpiece. Well, I say small, but it's a proper headset size one for my voice chat only. When I'm using my Xbox One, I use my full surround sound for game sounds, and I use a single earpiece for voice chat. So yes, in essence, and depending on the ways it can be done, you can look at it this way. Your Nintendo Switch could connect to your TV or your receiver and your surround sound, and your in-game sound could still come out that way, and you could just have your smartphone on your lap or beside you, and you have a cable or headset coming out from that. Or it could possibly even support Bluetooth headsets from the phone, because the Nintendo Switch doesn't properly support Bluetooth headsets. If you tried to say to me about that whole USB-C to Bluetooth adapter thing, I will kill you. I will find you. I will beat you to death with a Nintendo Switch. It's not a viable option. Anyway, back to the actual point. So it really goes to show how poor of an implementation this is actually handled, the voice chat on Nintendo Switch. And once again, it doesn't matter if you don't use it. It doesn't matter if you don't care or don't want it. The fact is, Nintendo Switch needs to be a competitive system with features equivalent or akin to its competitors. This is not a viable option, if you ask me. It is what I can only call a way to be different, and it's so poorly implemented. And for all we know, it's a hardware limitation of the Nintendo Switch. Probably not, but it could be. So I'm going to give one more point real quick just before I lead into a quote from Reggie Fils-Aimé, who obviously is the president of Nintendo of America, and it's just so illogical and damage controlling that it really disappoints me, because I like Reggie. Reggie is one of the probably two executives in the gaming business world who I won't say trust, but it's more so as who in Reggie's case, I respect him to an extent, but I feel bad for him because he could do so much more. And if he was with a different company, he could be used and utilized so much better. But unfortunately, he's with Nintendo, and what they do in business and design and choice-wise, Reggie has to illogically defend and say stupid things, unfortunately. Anyway, before we get on to that, I'm just going to say one more thing, that this Hori headset is a perfect example of how being what I can only call being different in Nintendo's case is working against them. I think it's unfair to ask of someone buying a 2017 console, because I don't care what anyone says, Nintendo are advertising the Nintendo Switch as their home console, so it can have hybrid features to be a portable and handheld as well, but at the end of the day they are marketing it as their home console. And I think it's unfair for Nintendo, which have released the Nintendo Switch and have cut so many features to basic minimums, or just pared them back so much that they require expensive or separate accessories just to get basic functionality that we've enjoyed on other platforms for over 10 years. I think it's very highlighting and telling of Nintendo. In order to make up for the Wii U, they've needed to do so much of this stuff. Now, it is what it is, unfortunately. It's not like it's going to be a flop or a failure. Nintendo Switch is obviously selling extremely well at the moment, and it could probably do extremely well for its entire lifespan. We'll see how it goes, but I want to leave it with that final quote that I promised for a moment ago anyway. So this quote, as I mentioned, is from Reggie Fils-Aimé. Can't even English, and almost made it through the entire video without a major mess up. But this quote is from Reggie Fils-Aimé from January 13th, 2017, when damage controlling the whole situation with the online voice chat and headset support, or lack of which, and whatever way you want to look at it, after the Nintendo Switch presentation. So here's what Reggie had to say anyway. Instead of having some sort of bulky gamer headset, you'll be able to do it right off your smartphone. Put in your earbuds that you use for your standard mobile device, and we think that's a pretty sweet solution. That is not a pretty sweet solution, Reggie, because it requires a separate second, usually several €100 device, on top of which you will already have your Nintendo Switch. So for example, you complain about bulky headsets and bulky gamer headsets and awkward to use things and all that, just simplicity. Let me tell you this, Reggie. The PlayStation 4 if I want to use my Afterglow headset on my PlayStation 4, I plug in the USB cable, I plug in the optical cable, that's it. I'm good to go straight away. I just turn on the PlayStation after that, and it's automatically done. The Xbox One is even simpler than that. The Xbox One, which doesn't just require a large, bulky gamer headset, which can literally use any single pair of headset or headphones or earphones or earbuds or whatever with a 3.5mm jack, which, let's be real, is 99.99999% of them. You literally just plug it into the controller. No change in settings, no change in options, no change in anything. You literally just plug it in and it automatically works. It's that simple. So you can damage control this all you want, Reggie. Unfortunately, it is a poor choice, and I'm sorry to see you having to resort to such illogical and unfortunate damage control techniques simply because it's your job. Hopefully you can, after Nintendo, you can do something better that doesn't force you to what I can only call debase yourself for this. Again, this is not an attack on Reggie or Nintendo. It's just pretty obvious is all. So that's the whole point anyway. What do you think about the whole Nintendo Switch situation with the whole voice chat, with the Hori solution, or just other forced things like the app, the smartphone part of it, actually requiring smartphone for basic features we've had for 13 years? You let me know all of that in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter, details in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.